Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dylan, and welcome to Dylan the Truth Podcast. If you guys are new to this channel, I'd like for you guys to subscribe to it and also hit that like button. Deeply appreciate it. Now, this segment is a pretty interesting one. I mean, interested would be an understatement to describe this situation. It's about Rudy Gobert. Um, if you guys don't know who he is, he's an NBA player who plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Um, Recently, he got fined for 100K for a money gesture to the officials. So basically, he went to the officials and showing a dollar sign. Um, and then, he didn't end up playing the game against the Lakers a couple nights ago, which I found kind of strange because I thought like he was down with an injury, but I had no clue that it had something to do with the money gesture. Now, for those who don't know why he did the money gesture, is because, it's no secret. These referees do bet on these games. They do fix these games. They favor certain teams to win. Um, it's been going on for a long time. Um, so Rudy Gobert was just frustrated when he did that. Um, and the official that he did it to was Scott Foster. Scott Foster is known for being one of these referees where you literally can't, give an explanation. You can't talk to him. It's basically his way or the highway. And he has a history of screwing over Chris Paul. Chris Paul, especially when it comes to the playoffs. If Scott Foster is officiating any of Chris Paul's game, whatever team that he was on, whether it was the New Orleans Pelicans, the Houston Rockets, the LA Clippers, Phoenix Suns, now Golden State Warriors, best believe he's not going to be successful, Chris Paul. I think the stat is 0 and 14. I remember there was a couple years back, when the Milwaukee Bucks won the championship. I said Scott Foster is going to officiate one of the two games, whether it's game 5 or game 6. Whichever game that is, they're going to take it out. For sure, that's a given. He managed to officiate game 6. That was an elimination game for the Milwaukee Bucks. All they had to do was win. They win a championship at home. And when I heard that Scott Foster was officiating the game, I was like, well, let's congratulate Milwaukee Bucks. I said this before the game even started. Once I found out he was officiating the game, I was like, yeah, might as well celebrate Milwaukee for winning their championship, because I knew Chris Paul wasn't going to win. What irritates me about these officials is that they're the ones that dictate the outcome of the game. I'd say about 80% of the times. Um, I mean, you're human. I get it. You make mistakes. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But there's certain calls or, non-calls that they make where you're kind of scratching your head. It's like, you've seen what happened. You've seen maybe a player that traveled or they fouled their opponent, and you're swallowing the whistle. You don't call anything. That's when people start to question, are these games fixed? Because of certain officials in the game. Now, Scott Foster. Sorry, I keep mixing up his name with somebody else, but Scott Foster. He's, I guess if you want to talk about officials, he's the head guy right now. And then you would have Tony Brothers and these other guys after. But they're all in on it. We knew this had been going on for a while. There was an official that actually went to prison for actually gambling on games. There was a couple of these games that was very obvious. You could tell that, they were favoring one team. One team would go to the free throw line like maybe 30 times. Their opponents probably like maybe 5 times. free throw disparity. You have to always question it. It would be different if there's a team that's like an attacking team that goes to the basket. Obviously, you're gonna get more calls that way. But if it's blatantly obvious where the officials is just really trying to get that team to win and they're just calling anything to favor that particular team, I mean, people are gonna question it. Fans are getting really annoyed, me included. I'm always upset with that because I'm a real like basketball head. Like I watch it. I watch every bit of what goes on in the game. Like I watch everything from like the interactions, the communication on the court, defensively, offensively, how they run their sets. Now I'm looking at people's reactions. I mean, I'm looking at everything, everything, and how the plays unfold. So when I see things like that, it really annoys me because it's like we're putting the game into the officials' hands, and the fans don't want to see the officials. They're there to see the players, their favorite players. These officials need to be held accountable, and I believe the NBA commissioner Adam Silver needs to do something about this because it's just getting ridiculous. Um, you know, when coaches or NBA players would criticize the officials after the game is over, they get fined like 25K. In Gobert's case, he got fined for that gesture 100K. But like 50, 75K, which is ridiculous. Even though they're millionaires, still, that's a lot of money for a fine. Like, come on. That's insane. Um, I don't like that. But, when they're critiquing these or criticizing these officials, why they getting fined for this? It's as if they're like robots. They can't say anything about it. And I feel that's unfair. Now, let it be the other way around where the officials are complaining about the NBA players or they're complaining about the coaches. Would they get fined? No, they would not. They would just go about their business. You could say whatever they want. It's like they know they could get away with these things. That's why they continue to do these things. So if they make a mistake and then, after the game, the post game interview, the officials, admit that they made a mistake afterwards. To me, I would just hold that to myself. Like, I'll keep that to myself. Why bring that out after the game is over? The result is what it is. The game is already determined. You already screwed that team over already. So why come out and say, oh, well, I made a mistake, after the fact? It's not like you guys are going to change it. So why come out and say that? I never understood why officials would do that. And they're never held accountable for what they do. They should be getting fined for like, blatantly screwing over certain teams. Like there was even a play actually last year when LeBron James went up for a layup, a left-handed layup. I mean, come on. Clear path to the rim. A left-hand layup. LeBron's not missing that. What ends up happening? Jason Tatum hits him right on the forearm. You could see the arm jolted a little bit, and the refs standing right there doesn't make the call. They end up going to overtime. Obviously, Boston ended up winning the game, but they really screwed the Lakers in that game. I mean, that's just one example. And, they couldn't give an explanation or nothing. There's 3 officials. There was one right there watching the whole play. And didn't say anything. They just swallowed a whistle. And he's like, yeah, overtime. Obviously, LeBron was not happy. If anybody seen that game, if you've seen his reaction, I don't think I've ever seen LeBron react like that. And if he reacts like that, I mean, that you really screwed up. And, yeah. But I'm just sick and tired of seeing this, man. Like, these officials need to be held accountable. And they need to start getting fined for blatantly doing certain things. And also, one last thing before I end this. And this is a question for, anybody that's an actual basketball fan. What is the point of a challenge when you use a challenge. The point of a challenge is basically if the officials make a call, like if they call a foul on somebody, and then the opposing team who got called for the foul, they challenge it. So they go to the monitor, they watch the play happen. You could clearly see it's not a foul. What do? They stick with the call. And I figure, like, what's the point of having that? Because it seems like they already have their mind made up of what call they want to make. Then they take like 5 minutes to make a decision. I'm like, yo, you guys know what you want to call. Just make the decision. I just don't get that. I'm like, what's the point of the challenge if you guys are not gonna actually look at it? Too many times I've seen that where it's like they challenge the call, and then let's just say if somebody travels, for example, before they call a foul, like Giannis Antetokounmpo, like a couple nights ago against the Lakers, he did like a spin move off the baseline, and you could see he's like towards the end, like his feet was like just in, but he wanted to pass, but he had no player to pass it to. What does he do? He ends up traveling, but the official called a foul. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So then they went to the monitor and looked at it, and they, you know, changed the call. Like it was a successful challenge. But here's the thing now. Milwaukee still got the ball. Now, that doesn't make any sense because clearly, if it's not a foul, then clearly Giannis traveled. So that should be the Lakers' ball. But for whatever reason, they got the ball back, and I'm like, what? That doesn't even make sense. So then they really didn't win the challenge. They still got the ball. The Lakers were supposed to get the ball. That was the whole point of challenging it because they believed that he traveled. But he didn't. They didn't get the ball, and the only good thing about that is that I guess Dinwiddie didn't get called for a foul. And then what ends up happening? He scores in the next possession. That's what I don't understand about these officials. They need to clean that up. Once they clean that up, then the NBA will be in a better place. I just don't like the fact that these referees are controlling the games, and they decide who's gonna win at the end of the day. I don't like it. That needs to change. And until that changes, then people are gonna appreciate the game even more. And that's just my opinion on that. And I'm gonna leave it there. I would like to thank everybody who tuned into this video. Till next time, peace.